To get to what is currently the most precarious front line of the war in Ukraine, you drive faster than you really ever should.
Near the trees, you need to be faster.
The military escort is anxious because this is the Eastern Front and the path right into Bakhmut. This stretch visible to Russian fighters from either side of it. And they're shelling all routes into a now virtually abandoned place. Ukrainians are firing back to save it. So this is Bakhmut. This city is now surrounded on three sides by Russian forces. They want it badly, and they want it by the anniversary of the start of the war. But Ukraine doesn't want to give this up. It lost too many people here to let go. There's very little intact of this city of once 75,000 people. And after stalling initially, Russia advanced kilometers in the last weeks, brutalizing Bakhmut. The fierce private militia, the Wagner Group, making most of Russia's headway, determined to soon encircle the city.
Fast. Quicker.
Even side roads now targeted by mortars.
See the black spot on the ground, Jared? That's post-snowfall, so it's new strike.
The Russians perhaps looking for what we are too, a tiny command center. We eventually find it, but need to hide location specifics. It's a bit of a run and right past fresh blood from a mortar round this morning. Below ground, utterly exhausted, silent men. A moment of peace to dry their boots. They know foreign military strategists suggest Bakhmut's tactical value may not be worth the fight. That enrages. A soldier named Mihailo says so many brothers have been wounded and killed. This is personal. Until the end, I know Bakhmut will be forever ours, he says. From this muddy bunker, he's watching the skies and a shifting enemy. More attack drones day and night, surging waves of Russian fighters. Something more, it seems, is coming. Neither they nor we can stay in one spot for too long. Time to go. Driving out is just as fast, but along the way, you get a sense of the cobbled Ukrainian force here. See that armored carrier? That's a Canadian senator. And look at that beast. It's a prized Russian T-80 tank seized by Ukrainians on the battlefield months ago. It's now being used against the Russians. Ukraine needs more of all this, and not just in Bakhmut. Nearly 150 kilometers away, another front, this time in the south, and this time it's a slow, rocky road in. Staying in the deep, frozen ruts in the road, the only safe way to travel here, because the fields either side of it are mined. The men up front are Jaegers, or hunters, from the 68th Brigade.
We're doing the best job in the world. Yeah.
The driver used to be a waiter. He now commands the mortar unit. Andre was a software engineer. He leads the drones. When this war began, none of these men were soldiers either.
And so before the war, were you a soldier? Were you a soldier before the war?
No.
What did you do
It's
before
like
the war?
civil people.
Construction?
Yeah. Building. Manager.
You were a shoemaker?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't get them started on what's missing weapons-wise. To mention the coming contributions of the Leopard tanks, including the Canadian ones, almost makes them laugh.
Oh. Okay, this is a good device. But where? Where's this Leopard? Where? I will see. I don't see this.
Right.
And when we coming, okay, we need... Сигарети повикидали. Міномет до бою. Достанем. Браво 3.
A moment turns. They need to find the precise source of that incoming fire. Up goes the drone. Out come the mortars.
Постріл!
So we're only about a kilometer and a half from the front, but there's another forward position that's been taking some shelling from the Russians, and so that's why they're responding.
Постріл! Скільки ми кинули вас? Це четверта?
6 mortars fired off from this small position. That will push the Russians to try to find them, too. So it's time to find underground cover. They can spend days down here, momentarily warm and quiet, but hard to get a feel for the full fight here. So let's pull back to see what they're protecting. It's flat terrain, hard to defend, making the nearby coal mining town Vuhledar critical. Built on a hill with tall buildings, it's tactically vital. That's why Russians want it.
Постріл!
From here, Ukrainian forces disrupt rail lines Russia uses in the south. They can't lose that advantage. And look at that battlefield. A disorganized disaster for the Russians. Lines of tanks destroyed by Ukrainian artillery or minefields.
Прийміть координати другої, як прийняли.
Trenches, tanks, drones, they're all important now, especially this, an attack drone carrying mortars. But to the Ukrainian brigade's frustration, it's not working this day.
That's bad that they figured out how to jam your drone.
They have jammers that work on area. They see signals. Sometimes they do it on time, and we can work sometimes.
This front is holding tighter than Bakhmut, but there's no complacency here. They've spotted Wagner Group Russian fighters in this battle too, and they too see evidence of troop surges. And the commanders directing this fight in yet another muddy underground headquarters know how fast the tide can turn.
We can't just go in there because
This man is Kirill. He used to design games. One day wants to again. One day.
Do you see something changing from the Russians leading up to that anniversary? What are you seeing or expecting?
if it's already began, this is what were they hyped about, then I'd say we're safe because we're managing, we're holding our positions, and we're striking back. If there is something more to come, then, well, I don't know, we'll see.
This is not a force that will wait. Ukraine may stage its own counteroffensive to not just push the Russians back, but push them out. For that, this country will need more help fast.